about to go down.
Burning your ears with another all-killer and no-filler episode of the best motorsports radio on the planet. It's the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. With your host, Jim Beaver.
Sliding trophy trucks, jumping razors, and dropping the mic at events across the country.
Amy Hood.
What's up, guys? I'm a professional fun haver, dirt bike rider, and monster truck driver.
With support from Polaris RZR, General Tire, Subaru, and Dirtfish. Hang on tight, strap in, and get ready to smoke some tires and lay some roost. Here's the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other. Jim Beaver.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I am Jim Beaver here, knocking out just another epic show today. Got a couple of my favorite guests we're bringing back with some awesome interviews. Got big weekend winner in the Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series, Mr. Ryan Beat. He's going to be calling in here in hour number one. And then hour number two, we got another one of my General Tire teammates, a guy who has raced off-road for a long time. Now he's into Spartan racing. He's does a lot of work in Baja. My good friend Jim Riley. It's going to take up a couple segments there. And it's actually so long, I think we're going to throw this thing uncut into Project Action at the end of this week. So definitely a fun show. We've got Romain Dumas, an interview with him, not one that I did, but one from Pikes Peak. He absolutely shattered the record on the weekend at Pikes Peak. So we're definitely going to talk about Pikes Peak and the opening parts of this show. Talk about some Lucas Oil, some IndyCar news, and some big news coming out of dirt track racing, kind of some drama. Scotty Bloomquist, legendary dirt track racer, dodging some drug tests. So we are gonna dive into chatting about that as well. Man, it's we're touching all bases here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. So as always, you want to hit me up with questions on anything we're going to be talking about today, or or for any of our guests. It's at JimBeaver15 on Twitter. That's the easiest way to get your questions answered in the show. I accept things on all forms of social media, but during the show, Twitter is the best place. So we're going to take a short break, come back, Pikes Peak, here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, that's right, Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to your favorite motorsports radio show. If you're tuned in here, it's got to be your favorite, right? But thank you guys once again for continuing to support the show. This is episode number 343. 343 episodes, which means I guess episode 350 is coming up pretty soon. I don't know, generally around those, is that a milestone? Like, I don't know, like every 50 episodes, because it's an even number, is that like a thing now? Like we need to put together a big show. I don't know. I guess that's for you listeners to decide. Definitely hit me up on social media. Let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, is 350 a milestone? Is 400 a milestone? Like, I don't know. I know, like, for some odd reason, like 50 is a milestone, 100 is a milestone, and then it's like, what is it? 250 is the next big one, and then 500. I don't know. Do you like skip the 300s and 400s? Like, are those just like null and void now? Like, I don't know. Considering we only do about 50 episodes a year, it's going to take us a long time before we get to 500. So I don't know. I think we need to celebrate with 350. I guess here in about 7 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't know. We're taking next week off for the 4th of July. So I guess I need to do my homework here and figure out these milestones. It's like, I don't know, it's like when you're married, right? You get these milestone anniversaries. Like the first year is a big one. And then like the 10-year, and then like the 25-year, and then it's like all the ones in between. It's like they got all these crazy like gifts you're supposed to give your spouse and things like that. Nobody does that. Like, it's just like another day, right? I don't know. You buy the chocolates, flowers, send it in, phone it in. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, episode number 343. We are off and running today. We got a lot to talk about. Pikes Peak happened. We had Lucas Oil action in Wheatlands, Missouri. IndyCar was happening. NASCAR, it was probably happening, but, I don't really give a crap about NASCAR. So I like the drivers. I just don't like the racing. You guys know this. Like, the amazing personalities. I love talking with the drivers. But the racing, it's like watching paint dry. I'm sorry. Like, give me some IndyCar. And I'm a massive Formula One fan too. But the racing's getting ridiculously boring. And I know that Formula One, it's its own animal, right? For certain teams, like a sixth place finish is a win. A top 10 is a win because of their budget, their technology, like they are never, ever, ever going to finish, in the top 5. I mean, like if Haas finished in the top 5, like they would be partying. I mean, it would be insane, right? So it's just weird the way Formula One works. You got a couple of teams always fighting for a win, and then it's like everybody else is competing for a point or whatever. It's just Formula One's its own animal. But the racing, like the passing, it's gone away. There's like one or two tracks you get to watch passing, and I don't know. It's kind of like NASCAR. Like when you've had to change your sport so drastically much. I mean, you've had to, whether you call it the chase or the playoffs, whatever they call it. When you've got to add that stuff in, right? They add that in. Oh, we're going to make it interesting because nobody watches the last 10 races of the year. We're going to make playoffs, So we're going to screw the guy that ran good all year long and just tell him, hey, this, all those wins and stuff, well, they kind of count, but they don't really, we're going to kind of take it away. We've got to make it interesting for the fans, right? So they do that, and then it's like they keep adding on this crap, and then it's like, oh, well, the races are boring, so we're going to make stages. No, if your race is 600 miles long and people are tuning out because it's boring, shorten the damn race. You don't go and add 3 different races within a race, and then there's points for each stage. You can overcomplicate things, and such is NASCAR, and that's why. And I don't know why I'm getting on this NASCAR tangent today, but it's just the damn truth. The sport lost me. I'm a massive Jimmy Johnson fan. The boy came from off-road. He is one of the greatest NASCAR drivers ever. And you look at all his championships, I say he's got 2 more because there was a couple years where he finished second place back-to-back. Jimmy Johnson, he is up there. Nobody's going to get 200 wins like Richard Petty. Sorry, just not going to happen. But he's up in the GOAT conversation, greatest of all time. And he came from off-road, so legit, I like it. ARCA, I like it. Young kids, they're doing work. I mean, Sheldon Creed just slaying it. You got the young guys like Zane Smith, Riley Herbst. Love those kids. You got Tony Bredinger, phenomenal debut in ARCA, Natalie Decker. It's just, I got to give a shout out to Venturini Motorsports, first team in, I think in motorsport history to field 3 women drivers at a top level series, and they threw Leilani Munter in there, I think, along with Tony and Natalie Decker. So big shout out to them. There's some big news coming out of ARCA with that. But yeah, I like stock car racing in general. I mean, Sonoma this weekend road race, boom, love it. They need to do more of that, flat out. I don't think anybody's going to argue that fact. People actually tune in for that. But I don't know, man. They've had to throw these add-ons to make it interesting, and I don't know. When your product's bad enough, you got to add on. I don't know, man. I question how good the product is. IndyCar, it's growing in popularity. TV ratings are up. Sold out crowds, for an exception of some of the races like Phoenix, where 5,000 people show up. But they're doing something right. You don't see them polishing, having to go, oh, we're going to, I don't know, we're going to stop the race halfway through and re-rack everybody, or, I don't know. They're just not adding stupid points and playoffs, and literally they got a great championship hunt going on right now, and they don't have to add all these, all these special things to make it cooler and I guess more relevant. I don't know. NASCAR's chasing after the youth market or something. I don't know, but interesting spot we're at in motorsports, and I don't even know how we got on this topic today. Well, we should be talking about Pikes Peak, Lucas at Wheatlands, and a bunch of other stuff. But I guess before we do get to that, since we're down this rabbit hole of these type of motorsports, do have to give a shout out to IndyCar. Great one there at Road America this weekend. I actually wanted to fly up to that one. I wasn't able to make it, but Joseph Newgarden winning this thing wire to wire. Great effort by him. Ryan Hunter-Ray, Scott Dixon, 1, 2, and 3. Rossi kind of put a little chink in his armor there, and I'm a Rossi fan. Rossi, my boy. But a little stumble there. We'll see if he can bounce back. It's been a great year for him, though. I mean, if you can't argue this kid's talent, and he's future IndyCar champion for sure. Ryan Hunter-Ray, though, man, he's looking very much like the veteran right now. So I don't know. That was it's just one of those rad events, and I forget how long that track is. Something like 4 miles long or something like that. Crazy long. Crazy long there at Road America. So I like it, a track like that where drivers you can't memorize every inch of the track. I mean, they've got it memorized, the corners, how to corner and things like that. But when it's that long, it allows things to spread out, and drivers can adapt. And I don't know, it makes for some exciting racing and lots of passing and things like that. So great one there at Road America on the weekend. But anyways, I want to hear from you guys. We got a lot to talk about in the next couple of segments. We're going to talk about Pikes Peak coming up. We got Romain Dumas, an interview with him. Ryan Beat, my boy Ryan Beat, he's calling in here in hour number 1 as well. We got Lucas Oil to talk about. Some big news coming out of motocross. So I don't know. We got loaded up show. Jim Riley, a couple segments with Jim in hour number 2. But the big one, Pikes Peak. Electric cars are dominating at Pikes Peak. We're going to talk about that. Pastrana had a good weekend there as well. So, I love to hear from you fans. I don't know. We need to go back to phone lines on this show. I had them at one point. We're talking back in the infancy. We had some idiots that used to call in. Just some idiots, and I just got over the phone lines. I'm like, forget this. I'm not going to deal with these people. But it would be fun to bring back the phone lines, take callers. We used to have some amazing calls, like, just stuff I wasn't expecting, people tuning in, and, used to phone in and, legends of off-road and motorsport and things like that. So maybe we need to go back to the phone lines. We'll have to work on that for you fans. It'd be fun to take some fan questions, just like I do, when we're, put it out there on social media. You guys ask great questions. It'd be great to have some fan callers. But anyways, we're going to take a short break. We come back, Pikes Peak, Romain Dumas. We're talking about that after the break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert dunes or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, and we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here, kicking things off. We opened up with a little NASCAR rant of all things. You never know where I'm going to go. You never know where my head's at. And you guys know this 343 episodes in. Talking some Pikes Peak, we got to talk about this one. This is the once-a-year phenomenon that's been going on for who knows how long. The only thing I can compare it to, we actually have another, hill climb here in the United States, and most people who mention it, they look at you like deer in the headlights. Only people in the Northeast even know, and that's Mount Washington. I had the opportunity last year to go up there with Travis Pastrana and my familia there at Subaru Rally Team USA. Pastrana and Higgins both attacking the mountain. Very similar to Pikes Peak, except for half of it is actually still gravel. Still dirt. But Pastrana shattering the record last year. Just a phenomenal run up there. It's crazy. And you don't realize, and Pikes Peak's very much the same way. I had a lot of friends up there. We did, had that CJ Wilson interview, last week. But you start out at the base. And literally, there's this big park there, and, I'm assuming Pikes Peak's the same way. Paddock, you guys have their haulers, and, there's some vendors and stuff like that. People literally are in shorts and tank tops. And you can make the mistake when you drive up to the top of the mountain by just going in those clothes, right? I went up, and I don't know what the temp drop was. It had to have been like mid-80s, 85, close to 90 degrees at the base there in New Hampshire. You get up to the top, and the wind is blowing. And you're on the top of a peak in the Northeast, the tallest peak in the Northeast, and it was probably mid-30s. Wind was blowing. It was as thick a jacket as you could to cut through the wind. And this is in the middle of July. It's bananas, right? It's so ridiculously cold up there. I was in jeans and I had on a hoodie. And I was like, man, I need a beanie. I need a thicker jacket. I could have used some long underwear. And that's what's crazy, Pikes Peak. Very much the same way. Bottom to top, like you got to come prepared when you get up there because you get above that tree line and you're exposed to the elements and it gets gnarly. And you just don't know what to expect. But for a race car driver in these race cars, it's the same thing. You can set a car up to do one thing in certain conditions, but 5 minutes later, those conditions are completely 180-degree opposite, and that's what's insane, absolutely insane about hill climb, whether it be Pikes Peak or Mount Washington or anywhere else. I think New Zealand, they've got a legit hill climb too. But it's one of those things where, like, that's what makes it so tough, and I think that's why this all-electric vehicle, has become kind of the future of hill climb, because with all-electric, man, it's a constant power. You can have, 1,500 horsepower down there at the bottom of the hill, but you get up to the top, and, whether you're turbocharged, whether you're naturally aspirated, man, that car is just like, it's just trying to, it's dying, it's choking, right? Not that it's getting too much. It's suffocating. Like it can't get enough air, and it just can't. And so you go to all electric, man, and it's whatever power you got. You got 1,500 horse at the bottom. You get up the top, you got 1,500 horse. Naturally aspirated or turbocharged, you got 1,500 horse at the bottom, and you might have 700, 800 at the top. So it's kind of gnarly with the horsepower loss, with the elevation change and and how the air gets lighter. And, and it's the same thing, athletes, they go and train at altitude, right? Because you got to condition your lungs for less air. So when you do go down to something at sea level, it's like, boom, man, you're golden, right? So, yeah, it's just we're in an interesting spot in motorsport right now with with electric cars coming in. Formula E is taking off. It's just it's really remarkable, and I think this was a statement. For Dumas to take this victory, because Loeb and Peugeot, they came in with a factory works team and a top-notch effort and just obliterated the previous record a couple of years ago. People thought that was going to stand for a very long time. Dumas and Volkswagen came in this year. I don't want to say destroyed Loeb's record, but this was a statement. So I got an interview we're going to play here with Romain Dumas, and it's him talking at the top of the hill about the victory and electric cars and technology, and it's a couple minutes long. It's pretty rad. So big thanks to DPC Cars on YouTube, because that's where I'm hearing this from.
So I think for sure for motorsport, today he proves that an electric car, a fast electric car, can win a race with high level. And I think, everybody on a weekend enjoy a lot looking Pikes Peak. I saw some tweets that people saying it's more fun to look Pikes Peak than looking Formula One in Le Castellet. So I don't know if it's true, but for sure, I think for Volkswagen to prove that this car can beat everything here, it's a big step. After for the road, it's another story. I enjoy the car a lot. It was, even if it's on a hill climb, was one of the best car I ever drove. On the top three for sure. So fast on fast corners, so much grip, and so I was very happy for them, for myself. My only target was to win the race, and to try to break this record. When he explained me after the concept, in 8 months, they made just a rocket car, and it's easy to see how the car is starting, and the car is cornering. It's very impressive. So now I would like to try this car on a racetrack to see exactly what can be the difference with the car I was used to. Yes, my plan was to start very fast on a first sector, clear, and to try already to get a lot of time compared to Sebastian record, because I knew it was a good sector for us in terms of downforce. And I was convinced, but I didn't want to do any mistake. I knew it was a lot of people following here, but more in Vauxburg, and I was very scared that we can do, in Pikes Peak, a small mistake. So when I saw the less grip in the sector 2, suddenly I said, okay, don't take any risk. It will be enough to win. It will be possible enough for the record, but don't do any mistake for sure, because I didn't want, to do some things that it was not possible to repair. So. But at the end, in my head, it was clear. Yesterday evening, I spoke with my friend Brice, and I said, tomorrow we have to go below 8. That was my own target, to go below 8. But now I hope we can go possible a little bit quicker next time. It was very difficult morning for sure, for everybody. First of all, I came too early because I was scared to be late. And we wait, it's not the first time for me here. I know how it's complicated this time. But suddenly when we saw the weather, I saw on the face of FX and Sven that the weather was not great. So I was just staying in the car and say, anyway, we have to do our job now. And it was, a very long time to wait. But at the end of the day, that's racing. What we can do, nothing. Just try and hope. For sure, it was not an optimum day. I'm sure we had more performance a little bit, but it was for sure enough. So that was the most important. Already people from Peugeot who sent me texts that they were happy and hope to come back, but I don't know. Hopefully they will come back like that. They will push us a little bit more. Sector 1, as I told you, I took a lot of, yesterday night in a video, I took a lot of mark and say, okay, I should be at this speed and this speed. It's the first time that I was able to look the dash by driving, to look my minimum speed in a corner. And Sector 1 was just great, was just good, no stress, no push. But Sector 2 straight away was a lot more difficult, a lot less grip. After, I was a little bit on stress inside the car, and I was thinking, okay, relax. When I get Sector 3, I say, okay, now it's only 2 minutes to go. Come on, baby, we go and we finish these things.
All right, that was Romain Dumas talking about his victory at Pikes Peak. And, some interesting takeaways from that. Well, one, Peugeot texting Romain. Obviously, they've only had that record for a couple years, and now it's destroyed. But that car that Loeb raced is still around. I think, did he do some road racing? Anyways, it would be interesting to see them bring it back, make another attempt at it. I don't know if they would do that or if they build a new car that was all battery. But that car is still there, and it's still capable of, I believe, setting a record at Pikes Peak. So that's still around. So that's interesting, But he beat the record, but he actually. What I think is funny is the weather was horrible up at the top. I know they'd got snow. There was, it was damp. Like it was crazy, but there was a lot of dirt and gravel on the tarmac sections that lost grip because somebody went off earlier in the day in a couple different spots. So he had a lot of stuff going against him. So if he wouldn't have this year, I think perfect conditions. Be interesting to see how much faster he could have been. But anyway, 7:57, first driver ever in the 7 minutes to break the 7 minute barrier. Romain Dumas, big congrats to him on that. But just some other notables down there. My boy Travis Pastrana, he ended up winning in the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport, that spec class. I know it was everybody was kind of excited to watch that because we had CJ Wilson in there. CJ was just going for a finish. He did get his finish. But JR Hildebrand, IndyCar driver, he was racing against Pastrana. Pastrana has the hill climb experience. He knows how to ride that fine line on the edge. Hildebrand has the road racing experience in IndyCar, and he's not scared of speed. So, anyways, it came down to, I'm looking at it, 6 seconds? It separated them, so pretty close when you talk about 156 corners up the mountain. But Hildebrand second, Pastrana in first in their class. So, I was looking down here. I didn't realize my boy from Honda and Acura was in here as well. There's, James Robinson, you guys know him from Rally America. Reese Millen, he ended up, he was in a bone stock, like SUV, Bentley SUV or something like that. He beat his record, but Reese, it wasn't like, it was like a 1049 or something. We're not talking about Reese flying up the mountain, beating our record for, unlimiteds or something like that. So, I don't know, that was Pikes Peak. We're going to take a short break coming up on our break here, but Ryan Beat calling into the show as soon as we come back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights. This is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off, which is why I've partnered with MotoShield Pro to combat wear and tear on my vehicles. Whether it's the Polaris Razor Star Car, my trick truck, or our fleet of support vehicles, MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all of my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your car like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Switching gears here, got my General Tire teammate Ryan Beat on the line. Big winner on the weekend. How's everything going, Ryan?
Good. How are you?
Solid, man. Solid, but not as good as you. You back in SoCal, or are you still making the trip home from Missouri, man?
No, we're back in SoCal. I'm actually headed into the shop now to get the kickoff for get ready to Reno.
Man, you guys must have been pinned. You must have pulled out there. I mean, that's a heck of a trip to already be sitting in SoCal.
Yeah, we definitely left right after the last race there and drove straight through. It was me, my dad, and my uncle, and we just switched off driving straight through. Just stopped for gas and get her done.
Yeah. So how is that track? I haven't been to that track yet. I know this is year number 2 for Wheatlands. I mean, give us a lowdown on that track. Because, dude, it looked like there's a couple of big booters on that.
Yeah, that track's a lot of fun. You know, it's got a variety of different things. It's got some tight sections, some technical sections, and then obviously the big booter jumps that it's known for. So it's kind of like a mixture of like a Glen Helen meets Crandon type of track with Elsinore style jumps. So it's really a great combination of all the tracks we go to as a series.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask on the General Tire front. I know you swept the weekend, and I know what was down there. Was it in Ensenada? Paul Verdi did the same thing. Were you? I know he was running ATXs down there in Missouri, or not in Missouri, but in Ensenada. I mean, I guess you guys are in a good position now, being on General Tires, where you actually have a choice, right? You can run the X3s or the ATX. I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have, is multiple tire choices.
Correct. Yeah, both tires are obviously great tires and have won races. It's just kind of a preference thing, you know. General Tire has given us 2 options, which a lot of the manufacturers don't have that option or give you that choice. So it's really a cool tuning tool that me and Christopher get to use.
Yeah. So, I mean, heading into an event like that, do you prefer one or the other, or is it basically like you get to the track? Is it kind of dictated by the track? I mean, do you think you're gonna swap back and forth this year depending on the track, or or do you just favor one over the other?
Yeah, definitely. We have, both options. So depending on the track and the soil and the condition that weekend, as far as weather, if it goes really hard packed and blue groove and dry, we can go to that ATX tire. If it's not, it's a little heavier, a little more loamy, we can stick with the X3 tire. It's just kind of really what you're wanting to accomplish and what your truck setup has, I know we bounce back and forth. I know Christopher bounces back and forth between you and both tires. So it really is a true statement for General Tire that they got the 2 best tires on the market.
Yeah, well, with you guys sweeping, you sweeping this weekend, he swept the one before that. I'm like, I guess General Tire and you guys are doing something right, man. But
yeah, no, it's pretty cool, to see that the only tire that's won any Pro Light races this year has been a General Tire. So I think that's a pretty strong statement in itself.
Yeah. So here's a question for you, man. You were one of the few guys last year. You made the trip to Crandon. You obviously worked out really well in your favor. Now you got I guess a championship to defend back there. But you were kind of one of the only West Coast guys last year. I mean, Menzies, he kind of bounces back and forth and things like that, but you went and dipped your toes into the Midwest water. I mean, this year, I've been working with them on the Midwest Short Course League side of things, but I mean, how are you feeling as a driver? I mean, is this something like, guys that are on the West Coast, I mean, is this something you guys are excited about, the long-term prospects? It's like, because it seemed like before everybody had to make a choice. Like now you don't have to make a choice, right? It's all the same family with Lucas. Like, is this something you're excited about for the next couple of years? Like, hey, man, we're finally all together. I mean, what's the feeling of most of the drivers?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I can't speak for the rest of the guys, but I know for me personally, I've been waiting for this. This is the greatest thing that's happened to short course since the Baldwin days. So for me, I'm really hoping and pushing for the fact that it become one series. We need 5 rounds on the West Coast. We need 5 rounds on the East Coast. And it not being like a 2 different point series thing, but a full nationwide series. You look at NASCAR, you look at any of the true motorsports that get the proper funding that are needed to be a top-tier motorsports. We need a full nationwide series. That's one series. It's really cool that they're, combining the 2 for this next year to make it, an East Coast series and a West Coast series. But I think for things to really go the direction we all need it to go, it needs to be one series, full nationwide. Yeah, there's a lot of travel and stuff there, but, in turn comes the sponsorship. It's like a double-edged sword type deal. You get the sponsorship coming in to do that many races, and to have the travel. So I'm very excited for it. I thank everybody that made it possible and made it happen. I plan on racing Crandon this year, obviously, again. And then next year trying to run. If it's still 2 series, I'll try to run both series, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, and you're one of the guys, I mean, you're kind of like me. Like, you've had to work for everything you've got. It's not like you've got a rich uncle that died and left Ryan Beat $10 million to go and play off-road. Like, you have to make a business case for everything that you do. I mean, do you feel like, and I know with the Southwest, like, you're selling sponsorship and it's very regionalized. I mean, do you feel like being a national series, you know what I mean, that has those rounds in the Midwest and on the West Coast, it opens you up to more sponsorship opportunities just because, you can like, hey, I can give you a good chunk of the country now, not just like 3-4 states in the Southwest. Well, we must have lost him. He is sounds like he is on the road to the shop, but hopefully Beat calls back in here. But yeah, good talking with him so far. Just talking about the challenges of short course and what's going into to running this national series this year, and and then next year, looking at the long-term prospects of potentially we're unified this year, but one massive series. So hopefully he calls back in and we get a chance to chat with Mr. Ryan Beat and talk a little more about what's going on this year and next year, and kind of talking about his Crandon championship that he took last year, that World Championship at Crandon, and hopefully we can get him back on the line. Talk about what went into the decision to go last year. That was a big deal. He was one of the few West Coast guys. Him and Menzies, obviously Crandon Carl, they call him Carl Renner. He went back to Crandon, before his retirement to do it one last time. But should be interesting to talk with Ryan if he calls back in. But it's definitely a good cat. Talking about the tire technology with General Tire there and him, and that track in Wheatlands. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures, but I think Beat said it right. It's crazy. It's like a mix of Glen Helen and of Crandon. And Midwest tracks are a little bit longer. They've got their own feel to them. They just do. Bark River, Crandon, even ERX. They've got their own Midwest feel and flair. And then you got the West Coast tracks, and they're a little more compact. Maybe some big jumps, and not necessarily, the rolling hills and things like that you see out on the in the Midwest. So, on the West Coast, there's a big change up. But to hear him say like Wheatlands is like the merger of the two. That's rad. And, I've seen Wheatlands on TV, but I haven't had the opportunity to actually go and see it, feel it, smell it, experience, Wheatlands, Missouri, and, that Lucas Oil track. So that is one on the bucket list for next year, and I guess this year I could have pulled the double like a lot of these guys did. I know, they went to Crandon, ran Crandon, and then dropped down and went to Wheatlands, Missouri. So back-to-back weekends. If you're a fan that did it, I'd love to hear from you guys on Twitter, man. Hit me up at JimBeaver15, and I would love to know, what happened there. If you were able to, man, that's like a fan's dream, right? Back-to-back short course weekends, 2 different tracks, 2 different states in the Midwest. Like, woo! Count me in for that. I know the guys at Lucas Oil Productions, they had one hell of a week, transferring an entire semi-truck load full of TV and, and series equipment. But, it was, great back-to-back weekends. So, talking to B, getting ready for the big race up there in Reno. Then I believe they've got where do they move to after Reno? I think it's is it the event in Utah? And then we got the Midwest Series that I'm a part of here. We're about 2 weeks out. We go to ERX in Minnesota. Then we got Bark River weekend before Vegas to Reno. So Bark River there in Michigan, and then boom, Crandon Labor Day, the big one. Definitely bucket list for everybody. Make your way out there to Crandon for sure. So yeah, Ryan Beat. I don't know if we're going to get him back or not here. I don't know what happened. Maybe his phone went dead or something. But anytime you can catch up with Beat, it's a good thing. But hoping to pick his brain on the sponsorship side of things just a hair and see if. See what's going on there. But I haven't got a text or anything, so his phone must be DOA. But that's all right, man. We got beat for a few minutes, and it's always solid there. But looking at some of these results, I guess we can get into the results since Ryan. Whatever happened. Let's see here. We got so this was the first round of racing there at Wheatlands, and obviously, talking about Pro Lights, it was Ryan Beat, Brandon Arthur, and Paula Verde, a couple of General Tire racers there on the podium. Pro 4, it was LeDuc, R.J. Anderson, and Doug Mittag. We had Pro Buggy. It was Hardesty, Brister, and Watson. And then Pro 2, it was Rob Mack, Rodrigo Ampudia, and R.J. Anderson. So a couple of podiums for R.J. And then going to day number 2 there, it was Scotty Douglas. Big win for him. Stoked to see him on top of the box. Adrian Chinney and Mittag. That's a 3. That'd be a podium I wouldn't have picked for Pro 4. And that's no disrespect to any of those drivers, but good to see those names kind of up there on the top. Once again, Ryan Beat with a victory, Paul Verde with a podium in third, and we had Heger there in second. Hardesty with another win, Briska and Gibbs and Buggy. And then Pro 2, it was Rob Mack again, Jarrett Brooks, and Jeremy McGrath. Mr. Showtime there. And gosh, I love McGrath's short course program because he's finally putting it all together, fighting for podiums. There's a couple years there where, just between teams and sponsors and things like that, he was struggling. And to see a guy like McGrath, who, is a legend in Supercross, to come to short course and do well, and then have a couple years where he just absolutely struggled after that. Stoked to see him have his mojo back and, be swinging, be fighting for championships and things like that, Biggest takeaway from this, man, Pro 2 fields are stacked in both the Midwest and the normal Lucas series. Pro Light, it's a little light in the Midwest. It's pretty stacked in, the big, in the big, I guess the bigger of the 2 series. But Pro 4, man, this is a question, and I'd love to talk. A lot of these guys have parked their Pro 4s this year, and they're just running Pro 2. Pro 4, it's so expensive to run, and, 6 entries there at Lucas and Wheatlands, and I know the Midwest series, aside from the Greaves, man, they're and a few others, they're hurting for entries too. So Pro 4, I wonder what the solution is here, man. Everybody wants to run Pro 2, Pro 4s. Is it just that expensive? I mean, like, the sponsors aren't getting any more value out of it than they are, say, a Pro 2, right? Same value, same size truck. Same billboard. I don't want to say similar speeds. Pro 4s are definitely, a little bit faster, but I wonder, other than the technology, why would one want to do a Pro 4? It's cheaper to run a Pro 2. You can sell the same sponsorship. To do Pro 4, you've got to sell more sponsorship for the same value. Like, to me, it's a give and take. Like, I wonder if we're seeing a change of the tides with Pro 4, and it's going to continually get a little bit smaller. I don't know. Just an observation on the outside looking in. But we are going to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. We come back. We've got, we've got a little bit to talk about. Hour number 2, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Scotty Bloomquist, this big drug test failure. It's made big news in motorsport. Maybe talk a little bit about Alonso and some silly season and a whole lot more coming up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. This is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off, which is why I've partnered with MotoShield Pro to combat wear and tear on my vehicles. Whether it's the Polaris RZR Star Car, my trick truck, or our fleet of support vehicles, MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all of my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your car like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Want the latest from Jim Beaver and Amy Hood? Follow at Jim Beaver 15 and at Amy Hood 71 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right, and we're back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I don't know what happened there with Mr. Ryan Beat, but always fun catching up with him, even if it's just for a few minutes. But big shout out to him on the victory on the weekend. It was fun catching up with him. I know next guest we got coming up here in hour number 2, we got Jim Riley. We're also going to be talking some drugs and racing here coming up in a few minutes, opening up hour number 2. Just big news coming out of off-road, well, not off-road, but dirt track racing. So I'm going to talk about that. We got a lot of other news bites, big news coming out of Pro Motocross and quite a few other things. So that coming up. But this week, Project Action. I am taking next week off here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. But we will definitely be dropping some Project Action the next couple of weeks. So this week, my friend Jim Riley, this interview you're going to hear here shortly, man, we cut it short for this show. We had to splice it up and make it work in the segments, but this thing is really long and it's solid, so we're going to drop that in Project Action. Got some really rad Project Action guests coming up, so make sure you go over there to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe to both Project Action and the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Always helps us out, and follow me at JimBeaver15, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and join our Facebook group. Great conversations going on there. We've got some people from the rally world, the IndyCar world, off-road world, UTV world, drag racing world, like a big smorgasbord of rad people. All in that group and commenting on motorsports and stuff. So if you go to my Facebook page, it's right there at the top. You can click on it, join the group. Lots of rad motorsport talk. But we're going to take a short break. We come back. More to come here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, that is right, just as always, Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, kicking off hour number 2. If you're listening online, not quite hour number 2. If you're listening in national syndication, it is hour number 2. But thank you guys for tuning in, joining us, however you're listening, and a big shout out to our military tuning in on the Armed Forces Network, or the American Forces Network overseas. Tip of the cap to you guys. It's always humbling to know that our servicemen and women are tuning into this show overseas. Like, I don't know, man. It's thank you guys for what you do, and you're the real heroes. So, thanks for tuning in here. Always cool to catch up with you guys. But anyways, hour number 2 happening here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, and it is, it's going to be a fun one. But got to give a big shout out to my good friends at Dirtfish Rally School, because they've got basically Summerfest coming up. Dirtfish Summerfest is coming up, here on July 7th. And if you're going to be in the Seattle area, you definitely want to go to Summerfest. This is the one day of the year. Dirtfish opens up, well, they're always open to the public, but opens it up wide open. Joyrides in cars, helicopter rides, car displays, giveaways, autograph sessions. You can tour the facility. Such a rad afternoon there at Dirtfish. All kinds of vendors, food. Like, bring the kids, bring the family. It is all kinds of epicness there at Dirtfish Rally School. So check them out on the web, www.dirtfish.com, and definitely if you're in the Seattle area, make your way to Summerfest. You will not be disappointed. And also, they've got their big opening round of ARX here in the United States. Obviously, RX debuted at Silverstone a couple weeks ago, but Dirtfish title sponsoring the event there at Circuit of the Americas coming up in a couple of weeks, mid-July as well. So if you're going to be in the Texas area, make sure and check that out. We're going to take a short break. We come back, we've got a lot of motorsports stuff, some hot-button topics we're going to be talking about. Drugs in motorsports, which not something we always talk about, but it's in the news right now, so we've got to, and maybe some Fernando Alonso, some shenanigan news there, silly season already happening. So we're going to dive into that as well. But we're going to take a short break. We'll be back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker and a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
And we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, and kind of got some stuff we got to talk about here in this next segment. Some stuff we don't normally talk about, but I guess we'll get to some quick hitting news before we do. I guess this whole segment we'll just call News in Motorsports, right? Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Obviously, we're knee deep in that series, but Jeremy Martin, one of the front runners for that 250 championship, collided in midair with Justin Cooper. It's a gnarly video that they've got on Pro Motocross's website. But anyways, he's going to miss up to 2 months. I guess it was pretty touch and go. Screwed up his back pretty bad. He didn't have feeling in his feet for a while. I guess he's going to be all right. 2-month recovery. He's going to miss the rest of fractured his vertebrae in his back, but he's going to miss the rest of the outdoor series. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see him at Monster Energy Cup, but definitely a tough break because he was looking solid for that championship. Cooper ended up getting back up and finishing the race, but Jeremy Martin not so lucky. So Justin Barcia ended up taking the win in the 450s, 250s. It was Shane McElrath. We need to reach back out to Sugar Shane, see if we can get him on the show. Always fun having Sugar Shane call into the radio show. So those were, that's some pro moto news. Then, kind of looking at, I guess, IndyCar open wheel news. I guess the big news coming out of the past couple weeks. McLaren, you know them from Formula One, legendary Formula One make. They also make some rad supercars. I guess hypercars is a proper term now. Supercars just means you're fast. Hypercar means you're like, I don't know if it means you're faster or if it just means you're more expensive. But anyways, McLaren making some rad vehicles. McLaren... I guess they've got an excess of cash and they want to expand into some more motorsport series. Well, you know, Fernando Alonso was the talk of the Indy 500 last year in 2017. Had a good run there too. But it sounds like McLaren, you know, they got bit by the IndyCar bug and the Indy 500 bug, and they want to go full-time into the IndyCar series. So rumor is they're not going to open up their own garage. They're going to team with basically have like a sister team or like they're going to be a satellite team out of like either the Andretti or the Ray Hall shop. But they need drivers, right? So it's been pegged that Alonso could possibly come over because he's not going to win any world championships anytime soon with the lackluster performance of McLaren's. So it sounds like he could come over and be that driver. But there's also rumor that Scott Dixon, who one of the greatest IndyCar drivers of all time, hands down, his contract with Ganassi is up, and you know, he's been with Ganassi since day one. So you know, this is probably like the last contract of his IndyCar career. He could either stay with Ganassi, who will definitely want him back, or he could go to McLaren with this new team, and you know, which is probably going to be a really good payday, and go compete for them. And you know, if it's going to be with Ray Hall or with Andretti, it's going to be a competitive car. And everybody goes, why would he do that? Why would you leave Ganassi when you're winning all these races, these championships, you know, and just start or finish where you started? Well, Dixon is from New Zealand. McLaren has ties to New Zealand. So there's more to it, right? You know, McLaren bosses from New Zealand. I don't know. Do you want my honest opinion? What's going to happen? Because I think everybody's like, oh, Dixon to McLaren, Dixon to McLaren. Dixon's going to re-sign with Ganassi. Alonso's going to come over here. McLaren's going to make a massive play for Daniel Ricciardo. They're not going to get it. He's going to stay put at Red Bull, but I think that's what's going to happen. But I could be wrong. But anyways, that's some crazy, silly season news. And literally, I subscribe to these newsletters. It's popping up like every single day. Like Dixon, McLaren, Alonso. It's like in the next couple of weeks, watch this space and in the next couple of months, it's going to get interesting. So, you know, that's going on. And then, meanwhile, we've got this thing with Scotty Bloomquist. And I don't know, we've never talked about dirt track racing like World of Outlaws and dirt late models. I mean, very, very sparingly on the show if we ever have. Bloomquist was this guy's legend in dirt track circles. Like this dude, legend, right? I mean, he would basically kind of be like the John Force of dirt track. I think that would be a safe bet. He's been around forever. You know, he's probably talented enough. He could have went and raced NASCAR at some point, but he's always just been in the dirt. He's made a career out of it. And there's some big money in dirt track racing if you know what you're doing. You get into the upper levels of it. But anyways, Bloomquist skipped a drug test, got suspended by dirt car. And so I guess the way this deal went down, he was at an event, I think it was in Eldora. They needed him for a drug test. I guess he slipped, somehow screwed his shoulder up. He tripped over like his trailer hitch or something like that, went down to brace himself, screwed his shoulder up. They needed him for a drug test. He went to the hospital, tore a bunch of ligaments in his shoulder, something, I don't know, went to the hospital. They put him on some drugs that were legal to actually have, you know what I mean, for legal to use while, you know, not while racing, but it wasn't like it would have been something that caused a drug test fail or something like that. So comes back to racing. Anyways, somehow they wanted him to still take the drug test. He dodged it and made these excuses up. Anyways, ended up winning a big race. Meanwhile, dodging those tests, comes back to another race. Random drug test pops up again. They want him to do it, and somehow he dodges that one, leaves the speedway early, says, you know, he's going to take time off of racing, and his shoulder, because of shoulder injury or something like that, dodged a second one. Anyways, they banned him for like 90 days, gave him a fine. You know, I think he's claiming innocence at this point, and but it's just it's shady, man. That's the easiest thing to put, like, you know, and I think he's like, he dodged it. He's still not taking it. Now he's taking time off because he's got a ban, which, quote unquote, he never technically was found to have drugs in his system because he never took the test. But if you skip a test, it's considered an automatic failure. They reached out. He said he never got the messages on him trying to get back. I think it's all crap. If you're a driver, you know what the heck is going on. He completely dodged everything. I don't know if he's got drugs in his system or not, but I think he looks pretty damn guilty to me. Like, to me, it's black and white issue. This dude dodged a couple of tests. Like, I understand the whole slip originally, but when you leave the hospital and you come back to the track, like, you just go, hey, man, I need to take that test, and you do it and you get it over with. Like, he just keeps dodging them and things like that. The only reason you dodge a drug test is if you've actually, if you're guilty of something. And I think with Scotty, that is the case. Like, this dude is guilty. He just hasn't been found guilty. Like, I think this guy needs to do some soul searching. But anyways, it's all over. Just punch in Bloomquist drug test. Whoo, you're gonna have every motorsports site in the country popping up with the news about this. It's a pretty deep, like, I don't know. So at this point, he's got a 90-day where he's kicked out of racing, and it's going to take that while for him to recover from this shoulder injury or whatever anyways. So I don't know. It's bananas. I just don't know what people think. But drugs and racing don't mix. Let me tell you that. And I don't care. You got this thing going on in this country with marijuana where people are like, oh, but it's not a drug and this and that. Like, nothing in racing mix. I don't care if it's booze, pot, cocaine, anything. It does not mix with racing. When you're driving race cars at over 100 miles an hour, over 200 miles an hour in the case of IndyCar, when you're jumping dirt bikes over 80-foot triples, like, anything that can slightly impair your judgment does not need to be there. I'm sorry, it's a zero-tolerance policy for a reason, and it's not just for your own personal safety. It's for the safety of every driver and rider around you. Like, I don't care if you don't race in recreational, you do whatever the heck you want. As long as you do it in the confines of your home, like, it's your deal. It ain't mine. It's not my choice. I'm not making those life choices, but that's up to you. But if you're going to get on the track, that stuff, you have to be clean. You can't have it in your system. End of story. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. Bloomquist, like, I've watched this guy for years. He's a legend. I'm sorry, man. I think 90 days is a little bit light. He dodged it. He needs to be thrown the heck out of racing for at least a year. And I think he needs to look himself in the mirror, and he's got some big choices to make. That's my personal opinion on it. And you know what? If it comes out that it really was, he's just that ignorant, and he actually missed these tests, and he's just that stupid, then okay, like, I'll go, this guy's just stupid. Let him race. But make sure and drug test him. But I don't think that's the case. And at some point it's going to come out, and he's going to come to terms and be like, hey, I'm a junkie, or hey, I am, on something. And, I don't know. That's just my feelings on it. This one I'd love to hear from you at JimBeaver15. Hit me up. We got to take a short break. Come back. Jim Riley here on the line on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, joined on the line by my good friend Jim Riley. How is everything going, my man?
Oh, it's going great. No complaints over on this end in Southern California. The weather's perfect this summer, so trying to enjoy some of it.
Yeah, well, you know what I find funny about this, and I don't know when this was it wasn't last year, it might have been like the year before. I think we were having that party that we threw at Pirates Den up there.
Yeah,
You had told me, you're like, hey, I'm retiring, and I was like, wow, like it was good. Dude, you were the busiest retired guy I've ever met.
That's what my wife says. Well, Jim, I guess it was less of a retirement, but more or less getting out of the alcohol. Well, I'd say the tequila business. It was taking its toll on me. I was starting to travel a lot, drink too much. And, with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, it just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted to have, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And, that's what we got to talk about, because I know, you said out of the tequila business, you're still very much involved, I guess, in the beverage industry. Just shifting gears. I mean, we got to talk. We got a lot to talk about in this segment, but we got to first mention Baja United, because this is a rad company. I know I'm an investor in it. A lot of people, you open this up to the off-road community and everybody as a whole that you do business with, and a lot of people invested a year ago, and I know a lot of people missed the boat. And this is like a really good opportunity most people don't get, to get involved with a beverage company, kind of in its infancy, and actually be a stakeholder. And I mean, kind of explain Baja United, what's going on there in this latest round of, I guess, of investors.
Yeah, no problem, Jim. Thanks for bringing it up too, because really at the end of the day, the business is about living with purpose, and helping the orphanages in Baja was kind of how the business plan began to formulate. And the bottom line is that we spent a lot of time down in Baja, racing down there all these years, and it's natural that us as racers get involved with the orphanages and supporting them. Well, I was approached by Eric Morley at Blue Sea Advertising to create this business of bringing wine up, and it's something that he's been wanting to do for a long time. I knew how to import, export, because of my days with the tequila company. And I said, yeah, I'll do it, but we just, let's try to create something sustainable so we can help the orphanages. And that's basically what the business plan was built around. We donate 8% to the orphanages down there. And, hopefully we've created a business that's going to be around for a very long time and that can take care of, not only our families up here and the people that invested, but as well as the kids down there. And, all my years with the tequila company, off-road guys always wanted to get involved. How do we invest? There's a lot of money out there, and people just love the industry, and there wasn't that option with my tequila company. So when I started this, I knew I wanted to crowdfund because everybody could get involved that had been asking me over the years to get involved, and that's exactly what we did. And of course, like you mentioned, you're an investor, and we appreciate your support. And we've got over 100 investors in round one, and I was just thrilled about everybody that got on board because it's all about social media and building these brands and talking about what we're doing. And yeah, we get to drink great wines and support what's happening down there, but at the same time, we also get to support the orphanages in an organic, sustainable sort of way too. So it's really just been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, and I've been going to Baja for years, and what I find really remarkable about this in talking with you, I've been going out for the races, and you pass wineries all the time. And and you always wondered, like, we're racers, we're down there racing, we don't have time to sightsee, stop in, do a tasting, things like that. But you always wondered, like, are these good wines? Well, now come to find out they're really good wines, but they had no distribution in the U.S. And I think that's what's cool, because me as an off-road racer, like, I've passed these places for years, but I never stopped in.
Yeah, and I hadn't either. Since 1983, I've been traveling to Baja to surf and then to race. And as I mentioned to people, I said, I only look out towards the Pacific. I never look inland unless we're racing. And, the wineries are right there. They're 15 minutes from the coastline in that valley right there, just north of Ensenada. And I'm sorry that I missed it for so long, but I'm glad that I'm involved with it now. And we're still on the cusp of this business because a lot of people aren't familiar. Wives are starting to travel down with the race teams to check it out. And, we're doing some tours down there with Juan Carlos at Baja Voyager. We work with another tour company up here called Boca Roja. So we're trying to expose as many people as possible to the Valle there and taste these wines. But, Jim, they've gotten incredible reviews. The LA Times did an article last year that says, "Skip Napa, come to Baja." It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. Well, that's a statement right there because, Napa, that's one of those places. If you're a wine person, you just go to Napa, right? that's like the vacation spot now.
Yeah.
Me, like, no offense to people in Napa, but I'm like, I can go to Baja and get the wine. Like, I'm in, like it's not a hard sell.
Yeah, and the wineries down there are every bit of what you'll find in Napa, but the people are a heck of a lot nicer. And it's like every door is open for you to come in, and they're down dirt roads. They're very welcoming you. They're very proud of the product. And the product's gotten rave reviews. Monte-Chinique, which is our primary partner, has been down there for 30 years. They just won an award for Best in the Nation from the San Francisco Wine Contest. And that's the hardest contest to win. They won Best in the Nation. So it's a huge statement. Really, if you have not tried the wine, I know you have, but your listeners, if you haven't tried the wine from Baja, time to get after it because it is great wine.
Yeah, well, and talking about Baja and racing and stuff like that, we'll circle back to Baja United. But I know, things have kind of got crazy in your life with this retirement. And I know with racing, you were racing full time up until last year. This year, you've kind of taken a little bit of time off. But I know, I say a little bit of time off. You ran the Mint, and you had a massive program there. I know there's been some videos drop. I know Monster Energy's tied in with that. It's on the front page, I think, of Race Desert. Kind of tell us about that project real quick, because that video just, dropped 2 weeks ago maybe?
Yeah, no, 2 weeks ago. I just looked. It's got 40,000 views, so it's doing really well. Jim, it's funny because, I was going to take some time off this year from racing and really taper back. I definitely wanted to race the Nora race. The Mint wasn't even on my mind. And I got the call from Monster to work with them on a project. They were bringing some athletes up from Australia. And when I say athletes, non-off-road athletes. We had a NASCAR driver, or their Super 8 driver. We had a skateboarder and a dirt bike rider. None of those guys knew how to drive a race car, right? So they called me and they said, "Hey, look, we want to work on this project. We want to bring these guys up. We want to videotape it. We're going to put them through all these challenges, and we're not going to tell them what they're doing until they get here." So literally these athletes showed up. They didn't even know what they were doing until they got to the parade route. And if you know Elias Hanna he's down in Baja himself. He races for Monster down there in Spec Trophy Truck. he greets him. He says, "Hey guys, we just built this new Polaris. You guys going to drive this thing in the Mint 400?" Like, "Oh, no way!" And, I mean, trust me, it's a beautiful vehicle, right? Like, "Oh, this is crazy. We can't believe it." And so they're gawking over that thing, and Elias goes, "I'll be right back. I got to go do something." So he comes over to me, and then we drive my spec trophy truck back over to the guys, and he goes, "Hey, I changed my mind. You're going to drive this." And these guys' jaws just hit the floor, right? So for 4 days, they took these guys around Vegas and ran them through the ringer. They even took them over to the UFC gym to train with Jessie Jess. She just had a fight over in Japan or something like that. And then eventually we got him out to qualifying and training him up out there at the Shea Road. And, we had a great time. It was a big program for me to work with all these athletes in the Monster program. They had a big video crew. Watch the video, man. All you got to do is search Monster Energy, the Mint 400 Challenge. It's a 22-minute video. It's well done, and it captures the whole story. And ultimately, for me, it gave me a chance to run the Mint, but not have to chase a win, but really chase showing these guys how to race. So what we did is the athletes split the first lap, and then I drove the next 2 laps. And, I'll let everybody watch the rest of it. We did finish in the rain, and it's only the second time I've ever finished the Mint, and I couldn't believe it because we had these newbies in the car. But it was a great privilege to run with Monster for the race. And, of course, General Tire supported me in Method and Rugged Radios. All the guys that are usually there for me were there, Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil has always been – they're up for anything that I do, and I know that you're working with them, and I just love those guys over there. So it's really a great time. Thanks for asking about that.
Well, and what's funny is a lot of people think, like, quote-unquote rookies coming in, like, they're just going to wad the truck up. They're going to be horrible. Like, with the Star Car project, it's very similar to what you've got, where we brought in Dak Shepard, and we brought in, like, guys that haven't really raced desert racing before. And I think they're overly cautious to the point where they don't hurt the car at all. And I think it's just the opposite. I think people think they're going to get in over their heads. And I think they get in and they're like, "Oh man, I've got a very expensive piece of equipment here." Like I've come to find out, like, they're actually really good drivers because they're overly cautious and they might be a little off pace, but they're not hurting the equipment at all.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, we finished, so at the Mint in the 6100 class, there was over 60 vehicles entered. And we finished in the top 20. I think the final was 17 or 18. So, yeah, you talk about, these guys being cautious and smart, and they took good notes when I was training them, and they knew this was the real deal. They could get hurt, and they needed to pay attention. And they went out and got the car around the track. You don't get a top 20 in 6100 truck.
No.
Just by luck, let alone finish the damn race. You know how that goes. So yeah. I was really impressed with their abilities.
And we will be back after this with more from Jim Riley on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Want the latest from Jim Beaver and Amy Hood? Follow at Jim Beaver 15 and at Amy Hood 71 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Got my friend Jim Riley on the line. And Jim, you say you're not doing a lot of racing, but I got to beg to disagree, man. You're doing a lot of racing. It's just a different kind of racing. Bring me in the loop on Spartan racing, man, because we haven't even talked about this yet on air. I mean, you and your wife both, you're just shredding this. But, I mean, bring us in the loop on Spartan racing and how this new itch of yours kind of got started.
Well, it's fun to bring this up on your show because you got a bunch of off-road guys, and we all like off-road for what it is. You know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're challenged by the elements, and whether it be dirt or rain or a combination mud, etc. Well, I've been training to race the car at the gym for years because I want to be healthy and strong in the vehicle so that I'm the best behind the wheel. And my trainer's like, hey, you guys should go do this Spartan race thing as a couple. It's something you can do fun, help each other out. We went out and did it, and we really liked it. We just entered the regular class and thought, let's do another one. They have this deal there where you can earn a trifecta, which is they have three different races: a short race, which is 3 to 5 miles, called a sprint, and then they have a super, which is more like 6 to 8 miles, and then they have a beast, which is 13 to 15 miles, and they all have more obstacles as you increase the length. And if you get all three, then you win a trifecta medal, which is pretty bitchin', by the way. And people are out there trying to earn multiple trifectas. I think last year the record was like 18 trifectas for the year. So they're racing like 2 races a weekend, which is incredible. So we started doing it. We really liked it as a couple. So it's like, okay, well, let's do a trifecta last year. And we did one. And then we did 2 actually. So we got 2 trifectas last year. Well, my wife started getting on the podium. I said, well, I'm not going to be outdone by my wife on this stuff. So I started training harder. And this year we've been racing what they call competitive age group. So I'm in the 50 and over. She's in the 30 to 40. And you race against other people in your age group. And it's one of the fastest growing segments within Spartan because it's very competitive and it's challenging. It's really hard to get up on the podium. Well, I've been fortunate enough. I've had good training. Right now I'm ranked 3rd in the world for men 50 and over.
Wow.
And my wife has also seen some podiums this year. So it's been a lot of fun. If you're an off-road guy and you just have the notion to do anything athletic, go do a Spartan race. That's all I got to say. It's that much fun.
Here's a question. We'll put you on the spot with this. Finishing a Spartan race or finishing, say, the Mint 400? I mean, what is tougher? And, I mean, do they both have the same gratifying, feeling to you?
I got to say yes, because I've done marathons and I did a triathlon and I've done a lot of hard stuff in my life, climbed some mountains. To finish a Spartan race, especially I want to say the Beast because that's a 13-plus mile. It's 35 obstacles. I raced the Beast a couple months ago in Big Bear. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I literally crossed the finish line and collapsed couldn't get up. I was cramping all my leg muscles. I literally could not get up, Jim. People had to come over and help me. It's like what you see on TV when these runners cross the finish line. And then about an hour, I got my composure back, and I was like, man, I can't believe how hard that was. And I got sixth for the day in my group, which I wasn't totally happy with. I just came back from Montana doing the same race where I got second. I really felt confident going into Big Bear, and I got sixth. So I was a little bit disappointed. But I went home, healed up that night. I stayed the night up there, and I entered into the shorter race, which was the sprint on Sunday, and I got second place. So overall, I had a great weekend. But to answer your question, I think it's equal gratification, but sometimes more, you know. Well, I'm also the guy writing the checks, too, so I didn't have to. The checks are a lot smaller for Spartan racing. Let's just say that.
Well, it's, you know, with off-road, there's a lot of luck that gets involved, too, with the equipment and things like that, you know, and I think with Spartan racing, it's more just reliance on yourself, right?
Oh, it's all you. And, you know, I got to tell you, though, the thing that I like about off-road racing is that it's a team sport where, you know, you've got the group out there helping get the vehicle across the finish line. For me with Spartan racing, my wife can come, my 4-year-old can race. So I've made it a family thing. And then the camaraderie and the people that I've met at the Spartan races, it's kind of like a traveling circuit. So you see the same people, and I've gotten to know a bunch of new friends in the Spartan series, which I really appreciate because it's like another family out there. So it has a lot of the same components that off-road racing has.
Yeah, well, and I know you've got your new podcast. You've met a lot of these, you know, these rad personalities from Spartan racing. You've interviewed them on your new podcast, right?
Yeah, and that's something that you inspired me to do. I love being on your show, and we all learned through marketing that podcasting is a great way to, you know, enhance your brand exposure, and that's what we're doing for Baja United. And I've been very passionate about saying yes to opportunities that have come across my life, you know, like racing. Cameron Still's the guy that came to me to race off-road originally, and then I've had some great partnerships over the years. And same thing with Spartan and then my businesses. So, yeah, I launched the podcast to support all that, and we've had a number of the athletes on there. So you can look it up. It's on iTunes. The answer is yes, and thanks to your support and help and giving me good direction, the show's been a success. We've had over 1,300 downloads now on the show the last 45 days, so I'm pretty pumped on that.
Well, and I think a lot of people, too, and I've had people, you know, ask me, they're like, hey, Jim started a new podcast, you know, and you know, and I think a lot of people assumed it was going to be like an off-road podcast, and you were going to get, you know, myself and Cameron and, you know, and guys like that on it. And it's, you know, I know you had Bruce Penhall recently, but by and large, this is so not, and, you know, a motorsports or racing, nothing. I mean, once in a while there's a tie-in, but it's so different. And I think that's what's really rad, because I don't think it was what people were expecting Jim Riley would do for a podcast.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't really think about that, Jim. First of all, I knew I could never compete with what you're doing, you know, in the off-road and racing world, nor would I want to. I've always been very passionate about business and helping people. I've actually started to mentor some executives through the podcasting effort because they've listened to my shows and they're like, hey, do you think you can help me? And so that's been very rewarding me to do some mentoring. And I've always talked about doing some public appearances for business. And the podcast just is a natural next step for me to work towards that. And I'm really enjoying it. I mean, there's some incredible people out there. As you know, you've interviewed a lot of great athletes. And I think it's wonderful to expose these people to the general population. And the podcast is so popular now because you can listen to it while you're at the gym or you can listen to it in the car and you're getting an education or learning something you didn't know. And it's very rewarding. So me as an interviewer, I'm being rewarded, and then the person listening is being rewarded, and the interviewee feels good, like, hey, I just got some exposure, you know. So it works for everybody. You knew this a long time ago.
Yeah, and like you said, we talked, you know, when you were getting into it. I'm like, it's addicting. You know, every part of it is addicting. I mean, you watch the numbers every week, but it's just like you do an awesome interview, and like you said, I've never walked away and, you know, been bummed out. You know, it's like, I mean, there's some, I know one of my favorite people, Jacqueline Carrizosa, she goes by Brojack, you know, and she was a Navy rescue swimmer. Now people know her from guns on social media and, you know, some of her.
She's awesome, man.
But Jackie's story, like her story growing up, like I did that interview, had no idea what I was going to get out of it. And an hour later, I'm sitting there with my jaw on the floor, like, did this just happen? Because I had no idea this girl had this story. You know, and
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
you get
so
into these
cool.
too, and you're just like, wow, like this is amazing.
Yeah. You know, ours is focused around business mainly. You know, we want people to know that there's decisions they can make in their life and go and succeed. And oftentimes those opportunities come not necessarily disguised, but, you know, people are nervous to take advantage of them. So the stories we've got have just been incredible. You know, like the Bruce Penhall, if nobody's listened to that, it's worth listening to. You know, he talks about going into the TV business for the show Chips, you know, back in the 80s. Well, that guy just won his second world championship, you know, on a motorcycle, you know, and they came to him and said, hey, we want you to be on this TV show. Well, that was like the #1 TV show at the time. And believe it or not, he said no the first go-around because he still was chasing his second championship. He wanted to win on U.S. soil. So he'd already, and these are things that you never know about people, right? I've known Bruce for a lot of years. And he says, we had already mapped it out. I was going to retire on the podium or at the last race in L.A. And he goes, fortunately, I won, and I was able to retire the world champion in my home turf and then go to work the next day on the Chips TV series. It's like, oh, this is epic, right?
Dude, that's just insane. Like, I don't know. You get those stories out, stuff that, and I think a lot of it too, like a lot of these people, you interview them and they forget. And they forget these stories, and they start telling it, and it's like, man, I haven't told this story in, you know, a decade.
Yeah. No, you're right. So very rewarding. Again, thank you for your help getting me to where I'm at. Without you, the show would sound like crap, and we wouldn't be doing a very good job. So you gave me a lot of great insight to do it, and it's one of those life dreams to go down that road, and you've helped me get there. And we're not going to put too many off-road guys on there. I think I do need a place to call the Cameron because we're doing a mini series within our series called Baja Sessions, and it's all things Baja, and I cannot do something about Baja and not include Cameron because he was the guy that really introduced me to it in a different way outside of surfing. So we might have one actual off-road racer on there, but outside of that, it's going to be a lot of informative, cool stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, and Cameron's story, because I've been fortunate enough to interview him, and I mean, there's the whole Baja tie-in, but Cameron just his story, I mean, about how he became the TV personality and things like that, like it's a very random story. Like it was, and he just said yes, like you said, yes to certain opportunities, and he was at the right place, right time. He was smart enough to say yes. And, and it was a time when most people probably wouldn't have said yes, but Cameron, he just had a feeling about things, and, look at him now.
Yeah, he's very intuitive and a great ambassador for Baja. So, I'm definitely going to have to give him a call for that. But, it's just been fun, and, it's summertime now. By the way, I didn't get to race the Nora race. A lot of people were asking me what happened. And we were gearing up, paid my entry, had the team all ready to go. We were dropping an LS2 into the 57. And if people know my story, we've blown a couple motors down there a couple years in a row. We've done a lot of change out during the middle of the race. And I thought, I'm not going to do that again. And it wasn't that we waited to the last minute to do a swap over, but we just thought it was going to be easier than what it was. And we ran out of time doing the LS swap over. And at the end of the day, what it was, Larry Schwackfer ran that car for a lot of years in the 70s and 80s, won a lot of races in that 57, but we never realized that he had moved the whole drivetrain back 3 inches and down 3 inches for weight distribution, and you would have never known that until you tried to do a swap out of something different. And that's we had a Chevy engineer come out. He goes, well, this is your problem. You're back and down 3 inches. So we'll get after it next year, though. I still have my entry, so we'll be there next year.
Nice. Looking forward to it. You always have the most fun down there at Nora, I think.
Well, you have to, right?
Yeah. They say it's the happiest race on earth, right?
That's right. That's right, man.
Awesome.
So, it'll be a good time. And hey, by the way, you'd mentioned Baja United and the capital stuff that we're doing. I had to open that thing back up a couple weeks ago for investors because, like you mentioned, a lot of people, they just figured it was going to be open forever. And actually, Kurt over at DC Shocks out here in California, he called me. He goes, hey, are you going to open that thing back up? Because I got a lot of people that want to get involved. I'm like, I've gotten those same calls. So we did open it back up. The minimum investment's $100. You just go to startengine.com and search Baja United, or you can go on our website or DM me or whatever. But for $100, you can own 20 shares. It's just like a stock. and they gain in value as the company gains in value. So if we all do our job and drink lots of wine, kids will get more money at the orphanages, and your value of your shares will go up. And I'm all in, man. I'm working 10, 12 hours a day on this thing because I love it so much. This is the most fun I've had working in my entire life. Yeah. So just know that if you get involved or you buy some shares, that I am all in, huffing this thing as hard as I can.
Wow. And I know you're always, one thing I've always liked is you're accessible, you know, whether it be on social media or email. I mean, you know, you're one of those, like, you always respond. It may take you a day or something, but you always get back to people. And I think, you know, there's not many companies like that where they've got somebody like you who's like, hey, yeah, like, you know, hit me with your questions. Like, I want to talk with people, you know, and I think that's one thing that's always made what you're involved in so successful.
Well, I appreciate you identifying that because I do pride myself in that. And now that I have kids, sometimes it does take a little bit longer to get back, but I try to get back to everybody. And you know what? Every time I do, I'm glad that I did because I learned something or I get something or I help somebody, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, you know, hey, hit me up. If you need something, hit me up. I'm happy to take the call or the email.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time, Jim. I think, you know, we got this pegged for 2 segments, but I think we'll run this thing uncut in the podcast. But thank you for calling in, my friend. Always fun catching up, and, you know, we're definitely looking forward to more podcasts.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good to hear your voice. And, yeah, follow us. Find us on iTunes. The Answer is Yes podcast. So thanks a lot, Jim. You guys take care. Have a great week.
All right. Awesome catching up with Jim Riley, an amazing guy. Definitely check out his podcast. The Answer is Yes. I actually help him produce it. So good stuff. We're going to take a short break, wrapping things up when we come back on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered, packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to your favorite motorsports radio show, the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Heaver here. Going to wrap things up, and a fun one. Thanks to all you guys for tuning in. Coming up, man, we got a lot of events, pro motocross, more Lucas Oil, more IndyCar, more NHRA, but I am taking a week off here, going to do a little vacationing, and I'm going to head up to Dirtfish Summerfest. So make sure if you're going to be in the Seattle area, head up to Dirtfish Summerfest as well. You can see me there. That is Saturday the 7th. More info on Dirtfish's Facebook page or their website. Thanks to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, Vision Wheel, KC Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, Impact, Optimus, MotoShield Pro, Terracross, Blue Water Resort and Casino. I am at Jim Beaver 15 on all forms of social media. Make sure and rate, review, subscribe to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, as well as Project Action on Podcast One. They're on iTunes, and use that coupon code JBDirtfish. It'll get you 15% off any and all classes there at Dirtfish Rally School. Don't forget, taking a week off of the Down and Dirty Radio Show next week for the 4th of July, America. But if you want some more content, definitely check out Project Action. We'll be dropping episodes of that each and every week over the holiday break. Definitely always punching out the content. Jim Riley on tap for this week in an uncut interview. So think you guys will enjoy that. I'm going to head out on vacation. You guys be safe. And as always, game on.